All right, first of all, Jürgen, thanks so much for joining us here on Astro SuperSport in Malaysia, very far away from where you're from. But I want to know, how are you doing at the moment?
I'm doing great. Thanks for asking. Yeah, I've lived since 23 years in the United States, kind of in and out. When I had coaching adventures, then I was obviously traveling a lot and staying in different places. But the home base has always been California since 23 years, and I cannot complain about that.
Yeah, and I'm sure you can't complain with the sunny skies as well, the good weather. But I want to jump straight to it. I want to start talking about a character that's really central to Bayern Munich in Robert Lewandowski. He's had an incredible 2020, 2021 as well, but somehow still ended up without a Ballon d'Or. How big of an injustice do you think this is, in your opinion?
Well, I wouldn't call it injustice. I would just call it a disappointment because obviously, what he's done now the last couple of years is amazing. And never, ever anybody thought in Germany that somebody will come along one day and break the record of Gerd Müller, which is our all-time hero, best goal scorer ever in German history, and especially the Bundesliga history. And Robert came and he did all that. And we all think, he really deserved that Ballon d'Or. On the other side, we all respect and we all love Lionel Messi. There's absolutely no doubt about it. I mean, he's a superstar. He's a great guy, a great personality, very special. Has kind of, almost controlled a bit world football the last 15 years alongside Cristiano Ronaldo. They kind of shared all these awards, more or less. But I think this time the majority of the people really hope for Robert Lewandowski because of what he did just now the last couple of years. That it didn't happen is disappointing. I mean, Robert, he will swallow it and he will continue to score. And he's just a great character as well.
Why do you think that it didn't make it to that point? It didn't break that ceiling of, like you said, the Ballon d'Or has always been between Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo. Why do you think it's missing that final moment?
Well, that's a good question to ask everyone that voted in this kind of Ballon d'Or.
Not me, by the way. I'm not involved in the voting. So.
Yeah. So there might be people maybe arguing, saying, you know what, it's the overall achievement. It's maybe also the fact that Messi finally won the Copa America with Argentina, which everybody was hoping for him and for Argentina, that they get that trophy after such a long time running after it. And Robert didn't have the chance to kind of dominate with his national team, with Poland, kind of the European Championship, for example, not winning it. Meanwhile, Cristiano Ronaldo at least won the European Championship. A lot of people probably look at it from different angles. But I mean, if you look at Robert and you saw what he did with Bayern Munich the last couple of years, it's just insane. It's just amazing what he's done. And I think the majority, especially of us fans, I would say, hope for him to win it. That doesn't mean we don't hope for Messi, because we all like him. There's no doubt about it. But I think he would have deserved it, Robert Lewandowski.
Well, they're all great players either way. We're all lucky to be able to witness such great talents. But let's dive deeper into the big game this weekend then, the Klassiker. I want to start with Bayern Munich under Julian Nagelsmann. Based on what you've seen so far this season, how different is Bayern Munich on the pitch as opposed to how they were under Hansi Flick?
I think there's not much difference because, I mean, obviously both are great coaches. Julian is a very young, evolving coach and had already so much experience, because of what he did from a very young age on. He started as a coach far younger than anybody else. But I think if you look at the squad of Bayern Munich, and how they put the pieces together like a big puzzle, they have done so well the last 10 years that, Julian came in and he has to continue the work of Hansi Flick. Certainly he does it a bit his way. He has his own personality, has his own way of looking at the game. But I mean, the pieces that are at his availability, at his disposal, with the squad that he has, it can't be any better. I mean, they have done such a great job. Everybody knows each other inside out on the field. They double up all the positions. So if one cannot play, there's already the next player on the bench. They kind of comes in and plays like he always played then for the team. And so there are so many automatisms that are already created. But definitely Julian will put his own little stamp on it. He will do it his way. And he will be measured like every coach at Bayern Munich will be measured on titles. You have to deliver titles. The Bundesliga title is a must. It's just as with Paris Saint-Germain, maybe in France. And then everybody expects to be at least in the final of the Champions League. It's just, that is the standards of Bayern Munich. And Julian knows that. And I think so far he has done very, very well.
Yeah, he's done well with his players as well, because someone under him, Niklas Süle, was tipped to leave the club last summer, but this season he seemed to really have rediscovered his form, I'd say, under Julian Nagelsmann. He's been deployed in a sort of a hybrid back 3-4 role lately. And Nagelsmann wants his contract renewed. Is he Bayern's best defender at this point?
Well, I think, the relationship between a manager, coach, and a player is very important. But don't forget that, there's only one manager and maybe 25, 30 players. So you cannot have with everyone a very kind of close relationship, and you cannot do it all perfect to everyone because there are 30 different characters. They're all different, So one player is more comfortable with one specific type of a coach, and another player is more comfortable with a different type of a coach. So important is that the player realizes that he's at a very, very special club. He's in a very good environment, very, very hardworking and very driven and ambitious. And he has to find, the player himself has to find a way to make himself the best player possible. So I'm glad that he realized that he's in a good spot, because Bayern Munich is a special place. And then suddenly reaches his potential. And for all us coaches out there, our main job is how can we maximize all the capabilities of the players for every one of them to almost 100%. That's our goal. We want to improve them every day if possible. We want to drive them as much as we can. But at the end of the day, it's a player's game. And the players make their decisions on the field, and they make, Robert Lewandowski makes his goals, or Thomas Müller makes his assists, and the back line makes their job. So this all has to kind of work in sync. It has to become like an automatism between all the little pieces there. And that's what Bayern Munich is famous for. They always found ways to kind of connect and get the job done.
I think a lot of what you said, talking about how every player is different, and your job as a coach is to bring out the best in all these different players that have different personality, reminds me of a quote that Julian has said before, that 30% of coaching is tactics, 70% is social competence. So I think that really sort of encapsulates his idea of his coaching philosophy. But I also want to talk about the young players as well. Jamal Musiala, I'm sure you've been keeping an eye on him, a generation of young players with the likes of Pedri, Bellingham, and all these other names. Incredible maturity at such a young age. He's got a versatility as well. Reports are suggesting that Julian sees him as a long-term number 6. Do you reckon that that's the best role for Jamal Musiala?
Well, it could be, because he sees him every day in training. So he sees exactly what kind of special characteristics he has in his games, how he recognizes, how he reads the game, how quickly he kind of implements certain ideas, how fast he thinks ahead, because you got to read the game ahead. This is something where Joshua Kimmich is really, really good at. He reads always 2-3 moves ahead of time and is already in the spot before the ball actually arrives there. I think for Musiala, it will be a tremendous good learning curve the next couple of years. And then for whoever the coach is, then it will be fun to realize what is his best position. I think the Bundesliga itself is famous for giving young players a chance. And this is huge. Where in the world you can do 17, 18, 19-year-old kids, I would almost say, get a chance to play in the first Bundesliga in big clubs, like Borussia Dortmund proved over the last 10 years. Bayern proves it now, or look at Leverkusen with Wirtz. It's so much faith in young players that I think that speaks for the Bundesliga itself. And it will be great to see now how these youngsters evolve the next couple of years.
It is definitely great. Let's talk about Borussia Dortmund then. They managed a win over Wolfsburg last weekend, despite them exiting the Champions League on an upward trend in form. More importantly, Erling Haaland is back. But I do have to say that he's played in 5 Der Klassiker, scored 4 goals, but actually never ended up on the winning side. I don't know if you know that. Do you see that happening this time? Do you see Dortmund maybe having better luck this weekend?
I think they have a chance. Absolutely, they have a chance to. I wouldn't call it a surprise because I mean, it plays the first against the second. So if the second wins, then it's not. It shouldn't be a surprise. But obviously, for Borussia Dortmund, this is a big deal. It's a big deal. It's the biggest game of the year. There's no doubt about it. It's the 2 biggest rivals that we have since, I would say, 10, 15 years in the German Bundesliga. And Erling obviously is a huge player in the Bundesliga for his club and at a very young age. So he's one of the hottest properties in world football. There's a lot of speculations if he will stay in Dortmund, if he'll move on, will he go to the Premier League, will he go maybe to Spain, and all these things. The most important thing for him is to be healthy. To be healthy, then to be fit, and then to score his goals. And what I love on Erling Haaland is really, I love his drive. I love his hunger. He's never, ever satisfied with 1 goal or 2 goals. He wants the next goal and the next goal. And that is very similar to a Robert Lewandowski. So when you look at these two, you see the Robert Lewandowski, the experienced version, the guy that has it done all over so many years. And then there's the young version, and that's Erling Haaland, that maybe wants to become the Robert Lewandowski of the future. And that's pretty cool. It's pretty cool. So, but he needs to obviously be fit, be healthy, and sooner or later he gets his first win against Bayern Munich with his Dortmund side. I'm pretty sure. If it will be now, who knows? Who knows, Michelle?
Who knows this weekend, right? But I hope you don't mind, Jurgen. I'm going to put you on the spot right now. We spoke about Jamal Musiala. I mentioned briefly about Jude Bellingham. 2 players, a lot of potential, great maturity. If you were a manager of a club and you had to sign only one of them, only one, who would you pick?
A tough one, because both proved at such a young age already that they're capable to play on the highest level, and then you're a bit a child of your environment. You got to make sure that you kind of fit the best in the environment you are. So for Bellingham at Dortmund and for Musiala at Bayern Munich, the competition there is huge. I mean, there's such a fight for the spots. Every training session is almost like a game because you want to prove to your manager that you belong in the starting 11. And that's tough for 18-year-old boys. And but the way they do it, the way they deal with it is just fascinating. I would love to have both, and form them both, because for coaches, it's all about the kind of the human relationship with the team, with the people around you, and to have such tremendous talents, to deal with. It's just fun.
All right, just a couple of additional questions from me as well. We received a lot from football fans here in Malaysia. Their excitement of having a Ralf Rangnick in being part of such a big club as well. Could you give us maybe a brief breakdown of how influential Ralf is in German football over the years?
Well, over the last 2-3 decades, Ralf has been a kind of an architect of a couple of different projects that he worked for. Obviously at Hoffenheim, to bring up Hoffenheim. So step by step, alongside Hansi Flick, actually, who was the former coach at Hoffenheim years ago. And then obviously he was influential at Schalke, and then obviously with the Red Bull teams in different ways, and the last one then with Red Bull Leipzig, to bring them up to the highest kind of standard possible, which is the Champions League, and Ralf is a workaholic. He's just driven with trying to make the best out of every person around him, and especially to create success for that club that he works for. And therefore, it will be super, super interesting to see how this goes with Manchester United. His English is top, so he won't have any problems with the language. But obviously, the Premier League is different to the Bundesliga. It's a different environment, And therefore, you cannot kind of predict now how this will go. It depends also a lot on the people in Manchester, how they fit together, how they get along, and how they kind of describe the responsibilities also from everybody involved there at the club.
Okay, one final one from me then, shaping up to be a two-horse title race in the Bundesliga at this stage of the season. This weekend's Der Klassiker. It's going to be amazing. Well, it's your prediction this weekend, both for the season as well as for this weekend.
Well, for the season, I just hope really that it will be a race until the very end, and that Dortmund will be capable of staying close with them and challenging them until the very end of the season, maybe even winning it. But this is our hope, for all German fans, the neutral fans. They want to see a race and not Bayern Munich running away too early, by February, March, then already kind of securing their title. That's our biggest hope. And I think, we might see a surprise on Saturday.
All right. Thanks so much, Jürgen, for joining us here on Astro SuperSport. It's been fantastic speaking to you as well. Hopefully one day we get to meet in person and be able to do this interview in person as well.
I hope so too, Michelle.